So my name is Christa Fairbrother. Again, I am an atriary aquatic therapist who does aqua yoga. And as I mentioned, I'm really into feet because I used to be a farrier. So this was just a little video of me waving to my feet. No fancy thing, right? All right, so I used to be a farrier. That's me on the right. That's what farriers do. You put horseshoes on horses. And this was my best friend's horse on the island. And in the back is my teeny tiny little red truck. I used to drive a 1955 Chevy pickup. It was fire engine red. I really miss my truck. So it was a great truck. But, you know, there on the left, that mule looking at that person, that's kind of what you dealt with as a farrier. And it's a little hard on your body. So after 10 years, it was like, okay, do something else. So why a talk on feet? It was not very long ago in human evolution that if you had a problem with your feet, you were basically dead, right? If you had to chase down your dinner and you weren't chasing down your dinner, you went without dinner, right? So we really take our feet for granted. And this, I think what we do in the pool even accentuates that a little bit because we get that line at the surface of the water and everything below it disappears. So it can be really helpful. So today here in the classroom, we're talking more of the background information, a little more about specific modalities, and then an opportunity to review any of those little exercises that we did in the water. And there's a lot of barriers to working with our feet. So lack of awareness. So this is just a picture I pulled off the internet. People are walking around having a great time. You see that little boy on the left? He's like the only one who might even be thinking about his feet, right? And it's probably like some fancy piece of trash. It probably has nothing to do with his feet. Everybody, we're just walking along, right? We take them for granted. So notice even sitting here, do you know where your feet are, what they're doing? No, because you think, well, why am I even using them, right? So take that second here while you're seated. Can you connect with your feet? I know you all have shoes on now, but can you feel the sole of your foot against your shoes? And some of you might be like, well, maybe I feel one side a little more, maybe. Or, hey, what about that arch, that spot that isn't touching your foot? Or, excuse me, the sole of your shoe. That can be a hard spot to get in touch with because you don't have that interaction touch-wise, right? So it's hard to be aware of our feet. And they're far away and underwater. So this is the only other little video I put in, but it's basically, there's me, and then the underwater camera goes down to my feet and back up, right? It takes a while to think about that traveling, right? So, and I bring this up because it's easy for us as therapists to say, oh, you know, yeah, I got it. I understand feet are important, right? But the people we're working with don't necessarily, right? Oh, it did go, sorry, tech. And I left in the sound because it's like, yeah, they're really far down there. And all the way back up to my brain, which is controlling what I'm doing in the pool. All right, so we have some cultural stuff about feet that we kind of sometimes don't think about. Like when you say, oh, you know, somebody doesn't want to get married. I almost said he, but because we do gender that a little bit. It's like, oh, I got cold feet. Or the feet binding that they used to do in China about control of women, right? And notice I'm bringing up China. I don't think it's just China because how many of you have worn high heels for years maybe, right? And then as a yoga teacher, why do we sit cross-legged in yoga rather than just like sprawling out? It's considered rude to show people the bottom of your feet, right? So that's why you would sit cross-legged. So in some cultures, that interacting with your feet, it's really a sign of disrespect. And it also is, I think, important to keep that in mind as you're working with potentially diverse populations. They're going to bring in different attitudes about their feet than you might have, right? So we have to keep that in mind as well. And then we have this really fragmented approach to healthcare. So here our, Mer lady here. You can imagine if she had something go wrong in like her pelvic region, like these things are maybe an inch apart in reality. What would she have to see? 4 or 5 professionals, right? If one thing went wrong in your pelvic region, right? So if anything goes wrong with your feet, it's not just a podiatrist or an orthopedic or a massage therapist or a chiropractor, right? It's like there's a long chain of people you're potentially going to see, and they're all going to have their little input. And how do you as a regular person integrate those, right? Or as you as an aquatic therapist, you're getting these referrals and this information. You have to integrate that. So the science, you're a diverse group. I know the PTs probably have more background in some of this anatomy, the point of this anatomy here this morning is not to like make you memorize all these muscles if you're like, oh my God. Don't worry, we just need a sort of working knowledge so we're all on the same page of what we were dealing with when we were in the pool. So obviously we got bones, we got soft tissue, and then the point is how do we apply this stuff? That's what really matters, that's why we're here. All right, so just some little highlights. It's easy to forget we're the only bipedal mammal, right? All those other mammals out there, they're running around mostly 4 legs, right? So our feet are really unique. Those 26 bones, that represents a quarter of the bones in your body. Your hands are your other quarter, basically, right? We got a lot of bones. So many joints because of all those bones. And then that soft tissue, muscles, tendons, ligaments, all that connective tissue, right? More than 100. That's a lot. That's why I'm saying we're not here to memorize them. Just know that there's a lot going on, which means there's a huge potential for things to go wrong and a huge potential to impact change, right? It's a double-edged sword. And I just love this little fact. If you live to 80, look how many steps. Over 200 million. It's like your feet are serving you for a very long time. So let's have a good relationship. And then we didn't start wearing shoes until really recently in human evolution, which has really impacted the health of our feet, right? So the shoe choices that your clients